Part 2 of the Highwave switch dilemma. What do you think? Good afternoon, YouTube. Here with you on this Labor Day Monday afternoon. It's around 1:39 in the afternoon. What I'm trying to do today, or for this part of this Highwave switch extravaganza, whatever you want to call it, is take a look at where I think the connections are made for this. I may be way off base, I don't know. That's why I'm kind of posting this to see what you guys think. But as you see on the picture before you, this is the foil side of the circuit board, and those yellow dots represent basically where the switch contacts will come through that board. And they're spaced out fairly equally. I tried to anyway. And anyway, so what I want to do is one by one we're going to go through it, and you may notice some places in the circuit board that look like they have holes in them, and we're going to address that just here next. Okay, number one is the hole that comes through the circuit board, and it does go through the circuit board. I've seen it. And I think maybe that is where number one connects to. I can't be certain of that, but you know, given the two wires that I have loose, now those are both on the bottom of the circuit board. So you know, I'm thinking at one time maybe they came across the top and came in that way, and somebody just rewired it. I don't know, but that's where I think number one is. So let's go to number two. Now number two is fairly obvious. It's just a foil trace, whatever you want to call it, coming around there, and it lines up almost perfectly, so it almost has to be where that one goes. So that's an easy one. So number three is another foil trace comes around there, and you know, again, that's pretty obvious. Now for this next one, it's a little difficult to see, but where I just circled the area there is a wire coming through the circuit board there. And in fact, that wire connects to a disc capacitor, and it's difficult again to see in the photo, but I think there used to be a trace that went over to where that dot is, so I'm gonna say that that is number four. And again, you know, at one time I thought maybe that was going to be one of the mystery wires, but that's clearly a disc capacitor coming through there, so I'm pretty sure that's where that one goes. Now, number five, again, this almost looks like it could connect to 4 or 5, the way it's laid out there, and it may, in fact, you know, I'm just figuring the wiring of the switch, you know, was laid over towards the top and went that way. That's what I'm figuring anyway. You know, I could be wrong, but you know, who knows? So number 6 is you know, again, that's the closest thing to it. I don't see a physical trace going over there, but you know, like I said, what else would it be? You know, I don't see it could go anywhere else. You know, if you guys do, let me know. But it's hard to see some of the stuff in the picture. I'm sorry about that, but that's the best I could do with my cell phone. Get as close as I could. So, all right, number 7 is again pretty obvious. It goes up to that trace up there, and there's a wire hanging or going through the circuit board that is soldered in. It doesn't appear to be very well soldered, but it is soldered. And so that means number 8 has to go to that one, or that's my thought anyway. So basically that makes a, you know, at one time I thought maybe those were connected, but that didn't really make sense the way the switch is going to sit in there. So I figure that's got to be the switch between the two, or at least that's my thought on the process. So again, let me know if you think different. So here's number 9, again fairly obvious. You know, it's the only one coming up to it. Now this next one, I'll tell you what, number 10 is going to be a little bit hard to figure. Now I do have the dot over just a hair to the right too much, because there's less space between the two connections there than there is between 9 and 10. So let me see what I've got here. That is a question mark, and I don't know that it goes there. I have no idea. There's not very much room for it to go below given those two solder traces there that you can see below it. So I figure there's a brown spot there. I just figured, you know, it's got kind of a roundness to it. Maybe that I'm thinking maybe that resistor, because it has a connection like that on the end of it, and I'm thinking that maybe might be it. These are just kind of clues I'm trying to put this piece or puzzle back together with. So number 11 is again obvious, I think. It's the only one close to it. In fact, you can see a trace there. You have to kind of remember, like I said, that number 10 should be moved over towards the left, towards number 9 a little bit, so it probably wouldn't touch that at all. So, and the last one, I think you can figure that one out. That's the only thing I can see there too that would give it any kind of credence as far as where it would connect to. So, you know, that's my thoughts on this. Again, tell me what you think. Just for reference now, number 3 and 4 are always connected. Okay? Number 9 and 10 are always connected. No matter which way that switch is switched, those 4 connections are always made just like that. 3 to 4, 9 to 10. And that's the way the switch works, because, you know, the contacts slide, you know, and it just takes the next set of contacts and it makes the same connection as the previous set. So that's the way that works. Now, in one way or the other, in addition to, like on the top row, you'll have 3 and 4 and will be together, and 5 and 6 will be together. On the bottom row, you'd have 9 and 10 be together, and 11 and 12 would be together. That would be one position, whether it be AM or shortwave. And, you know, the other position, whether again AM or shortwave, would be 1 and 2 together, 3 and 4 together, 7 and 8 together, 9 and 10 together. So those are the connections that it makes as far as when switching, because it's just a 2-position switch. It goes AM to shortwave. So that's what this switch does. And now Bob has asked me or told me that he thinks the Sanyo schematic that he sent me does in fact switch the same way, but it uses 6 switches, and I don't understand how that's going to work. I'm going to put a schematic up of that and let you see that, and let you see if you can see what I see. As far as I don't understand how, because for one thing, like I said, 3 and 4 together, and 9 and 10 are always together. So, you know, how do you do that with 6 switches? I don't understand that. So that's my thoughts on that. Like I said, let you take a look at it and see what you think. But this is where I'm at. You know, when I get the new switch in, I'm going to try to get that installed, and then I can worry more about how I wire it together. But I'm thinking very seriously about taking all those wires off the old switch and just sticking the switch contacts down through that hole and make sure that it lines up like I think it lines up. And that's going to tell me a lot as far as where these wires connected to. So, or I think it will anyway. And there's also a possibility, being as it was screwed in, that maybe it was had spacers in there between the screws holes and the screw eyelets, that it stuck out a little bit, and there were soldered wires on that, where just the wires poked through on this instead of those contacts or switch contacts. So I don't know about that, so we'll have to see about that. Alright, I have rambled on long enough. You have seen now what my thoughts are on this, and again, this is the Highwave AM shortwave transistor radio. So like I said, let me know in the comments or email, whatever you want to do, if you have different thoughts on it than what I've outlined here. And I'd be interested in knowing that, because, you know, this is all speculation on my part. That's all I can do. I would like to get this going. Now, like I said before, I took that red wire, which is always hot when there's a battery in it, and kind of played around with that, touching at different things. And when I did, I got static coming out of the speaker. So that's a good indication that, you know, it's obviously going to be one of those wires that come, you know, do that. But what I don't figure, if it's one of the wires that hooks to the switch, then that's going to put power permanently to something. If it's like 3 or 4 or 9 or 10, and I can't see it just being all on, whether it's shortwave or AM. You know, I can't see it being one of those either. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. You guys, like I say, give me a thought on it, and I appreciate your comments and whatever. And I do appreciate you watching, and hope you guys have a wonderful Labor Day, and take it easy, and think about going back to work tomorrow, some of you guys that work. Alright, that's about it. So you guys have a pleasant day. Thanks for watching, and we will see you. Wow.